Hey, Carl here with Columbia Water Gardens, and today I'm going to give you probably the most important video that I have ever given throughout my entire career in putting videos up on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about water conservation, and I want to explain to you guys about something that is so critically important right now, and it's hit the national news, it's hit headlines all over the country, if not the world. And here's what's going on. We are in probably one of the worst droughts that I've ever seen in my lifetime, and that has hit the Southwest with a vengeance. Our local alpine lakes, like Big Bear Lake, is drying up. It's down over 16 feet right now, and the original dam that was built in the 1800s is almost visible coming across the top of that. There's still great fishing, the tourism is great, but the water level is so low, forget about it. I'm not putting my boat or sea-doos out on that. How about Lake Mead? Lake Mead, right outside of Las Vegas, Nevada, it's drying up. It has hit pandemic levels so low that boats that have been sunk over the years are now starting to show up along the shoreline. And people are having treasure hunts and all that, finding things that people have dropped over the years where their standing is now just an incredibly low depth in comparison to where it should be. Lake Powell in I think it's in Utah. Lake Powell is one of the nation's incredible water reservoirs, and Lake Powell has dropped down to such low levels that their canyons that were normally underwater have now formed, and hikers are climbing down and going through these canyons. So I want to talk to you about the impact that a water feature has on your local area. And this is why this video is so important that you watch this video and watch it all the way through. The reason why water features are so important is because a water feature doesn't evaporate like sprinklers do. And I'm gonna walk you through this process just a little tiny bit so that you can kind of bite into things. And as I'm going through this video, be sure to comment away. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe right now. And because I know this video is going to go viral, please subscribe right now and hit a like button. And if you want to hit that bell, go for it. So why does a water feature conserve water? Well, I already touched on it a little bit. Sprinklers, they spray and to irrigate and to water our lawns. And as they do that, there's a tremendous amount of evaporation that's taking place. When you put a pond or a water feature, the square footage that you now do not have to irrigate is saving 68% off your water bill. Square foot for square foot. And in this particular water feature here, we've done two massive things. One, we've replaced over 100-foot long by over 80 feet wide with this water feature, and we also have over 500 feet of stream. We have 250 feet going this way to the southeast, and we have another 250 feet going up over this way to the house. But I wanted to point out something that's really incredible about this particular property is that this particular property is located in Palm Desert, California, where yesterday it was 107 degrees out here while I was working on a brand new water feature that you're going to see on a later video on my channel. It's the finest work of art I've ever done. And it was 107 degrees yesterday. It's about 8:15 this morning. I'm standing in the sun with a dark shirt on, and I'm already starting to sweat. So out here in Southern California, especially in this particular area, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, this is probably one of the worst places to put a water feature. My plants are going to die out. Things are going to go ugly. It's going to be so hard to maintain. I'm going to tell you what we did here to make this thing around here thrive. We already touched about the conservation of water in a pond, but I want to talk about the conservation of pond water being used in irrigation. And the reason why we want to talk about pond water being used in irrigation is because of this. We already know that municipal water is treated with chlorine, chloramine, ammonia, fluoride, right? Plus it has to travel through the water delivery system and find its way to our safe tap water source. Well, let me tell you a thing or two. Plants don't like ammonia, chlorine, chloramine, and fluoride. Plants like water. They want fertilized water. They want water that has nutritional value. And tap water is stripped of all of its nutritional value. There is zero nutritional value in tap water for plants. So that's why we have to use fertilizers and soil amendments in order to make our plants survive and thrive. Well, we built this water feature and it was completed December 23rd, 2019. And since December 23rd, 2019, and today it is a couple of days before Memorial Day of 2022, right? So in a very short amount of time, this desert landscape is transformed into a desert oasis. And this estate is watered by, guess what? The pond water. Now, what's happened here with the pond water is that because we have tapped into the pond and we put a booster pump and a diaphragm to be able to regulate the water pressure and be able to deliver water to probably well over 2 acres worth of estate here, the root systems are now allowed, they're fertilized constantly. Every time they get water, they're getting a fertilized water source. So instead of the water being stripped of its nutritional value and everything below me being on sand again, which is also stripped of nutritional value, the plants here are thriving. The lawn is lush everywhere. The trees, the plantings, the flowers, everything is in full bloom here in spring in Southern California, Palm Desert, California. And what's happened here is that the root systems, because they're getting constantly fed, the root systems are not shallow roots, they're very deep roots. They're reaching deep and down because they're not being stripped of their nutritional sources. They're being forced to thrive. And so as a root system goes deep into the soil, the plant requires less water. So what's happened over time is that this source for fertilizing, for watering this beautiful estate, has actually reduced the water demand to the point to where we've gone into water conservation, and we get to live the benefits of flowers and plants and trees everywhere all around this beautiful estate. So how does this tie into Big Bear Lake, Lake Mead, Lake Powell, and the drought that's going on in Southern California? And I'll explain it to you right now. Last night, I sat down and had family dinner over at my mom's house. My dad passed away a few years ago, and I'm sitting having dinner. My brothers, my sister-in-law, and my nieces and nephews, they're all gone, and we're just sitting there chatting. And I said, you know, Mom, this rooftop here generates about 18,000 gallons of water per year, even in drought. And she was amazed at those numbers, but those are easily researched numbers. And I said, the problem is that those 18,000 gallons off of this one house right here is hitting the watershed and it's going away, as opposed to a property like this. So this property here, the water stays on the property and the water is pumped from the well and it replenishes the pond. So the pond is getting fresh water and the pond is sending fertilized water to the landscape. I'm hoping you're picking up on how big a deal this is. And this is why this is so exciting, because what we've done is we've created a micro ecosystem that is benefiting this property in a macro way. And as I stand here, I'm watching migratory birds flying around. I've seen ducks inside this pond. I've seen heron. I've seen, 2 weeks ago, there was a, what do they call those things? There's those seabirds with the big throats. Pelican. A pelican flew in over here. And I think the pelican was on his way over to the Salton Sea, which isn't that much further away from where I'm standing right now. But a pelican was actually inside this pond. And I want to talk to you about, I want to address three major questions that people are going to have about pond keeping that might be watching this video, might be considering having a water feature. Number one, mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are controlled by the fish and they're controlled by the dragonflies. A single dragonfly can eat thousands of mosquitoes in a single day, and they're also territorial. So around me, there's dragonflies all over the place here that have called this property home. Number two, fish poaching. It's going to happen. You build something like this, you create nature. Nature's going to find its way into its backyard. But in the construction of the water feature, we put in things like fish caves. We have deep shelves. We put in as much predator defense mechanisms as we possibly can to be able to ensure that your beautiful pond doesn't become a source for gourmet meal after gourmet meal for for migratory birds. And number three, we've already talked a little bit about this, is maintenance. This water feature here, we maintain really twice a year, and the rest of the time we just watch the water treatments and dose it periodically with beneficial bacteria and digestive enzymes and maybe a phosphate binder here and there to be able to just make sure that the water stays polished. But this property here has three huge wetland filters. And twice a year, we spend a couple of hours, we pump them out, we clean them up, we send the water into the landscaping. All that muck and fish muck and everything else goes right back into landscaping, and the water stays right here on the property. It takes a couple hours. If you were to divide that up in a small scale to your backyard water feature, you're probably going to clean your biofalls maybe once every couple of months. If you're really regular on that, maybe shake out your skimmer pads once a week or whatever. The amount of gardening that goes into a water feature is so negligible for the benefit to your yard and for the neighborhood that you have. And lastly, it becomes such an incredible source of entertainment. This property here is listed as an Airbnb, and you can get this on an average current rate, I think right around $3,500 a night or so. So there have been major A-listers that have probably stood in this very spot here where I'm standing and talking to you. In fact, I can't mention names, but we've had a basketball Hall of Famer here. We've had many movie stars that I know of, rappers, YouTube moguls, Instagram moguls, a lot of social media people have just enjoyed this incredible property. And why are they enjoying it? Because what we've done is we've created something special here that no place else actually has. And this compound here is so incredibly lush and so incredibly well cared for, and it started with this. I'm going to show you more videos about the construction and details about this particular project here in coming videos, which is why it's so important for you to subscribe to this channel and to hit the bell notification, because we're going to launch into a video series talking about this project, talking about conservation, talking about how you can do this on the small scale at your home, save water, and hopefully restore water back into Big Bear Lake, Lake Powell, and Lake Mead, simply by doing the right thing, by conserving. I'm Carl with Columbia Water Gardens, and I'm so thankful that you watched this video. If you want to see more of them, thank you so much for your continued support. Your comments down below, I really thrive off of those. I do respond to almost 100% of every comment that's left on my channel, and I'm here to remind you that as you look around over here, conservation really, really matters. Happy ponding.